Fables is a comic series published by Vertigo Comics from July 2002 to July 2015. Consisting of 150 issues, Fables follows the daily lives of many classic story characters living in a ghetto of New York known as Fabletown. Most would know it from its only successful adaptation, The Wolf Among Us, published by Telltale Games. For those of you unaware, there was at one point a chance of a Fables adaptation really happening. Fables was actually picked up by NBC for a 2005 to 2006 television run. However, this series never made it past scripting. But don't worry, in 2008, ABC picked up the Fables series for a 2009 to 2010 run that also went nowhere and was last known as Announced Too Early and Probably Dead. Now here's where things can take a weird turn, because both of these networks would go on to produce series that are at best heavily inspired by Fables, and at worst blatantly taking ideas from Fables for their own series. In 2011, NBC would go on to produce Grimm, an acclaimed series that follows Portland detectives battling some monsters that are kinda fairy tale-ish. Which I'm not saying it's a rip-off of Fables, it's just got some Fables flavor in there, you know? Much more suspicious I find, however, is Once Upon a Time, a series produced by ABC in 2011 directly after Fables fell through, and takes place between a fairy tale world and a town called Storybrooke. And not to spoil too much about Once or Fables, but both get cast out of their magical homelands to towns that essentially have synonyms for names. Fabletown? Storybrooke. Snow White plays a major role in both Once Upon a Time and in Fables, and as far as I can tell, this has all but been confirmed. Once Upon a Time creators came up with the idea in 2004, just 2 years after their initial run of Fables started, and we'll get into it a little later, but one admitted to back in the day reading a couple issues. So here's my completely unwarranted speculation. They read a couple of the comics back in the day, and they like the idea. They make their own twists on the world, and then they forget about it for a while, go live their lives. Years later, they get a chance to pitch to ABC something, and this is just kind of happens to come up. ABC's just had this fall through with Fables, so they already wanted something like this. It works out perfectly for them. This doesn't seem far from the truth, as there is an interview with Bill Willingham, the creator of Fables, where he addresses all the concerns I've just laid out in this video over a decade later. In this interview, Willingham states that one of the creators of Once Upon a Time had read Fables and another had not, and more than anything seems frustrated that people are mad at these men for taking influence from him when he so clearly took influence from stories before. A quick side note from this interview is that he mentions that he saw one of the scripts that were ordered from his Fables TV series and that it was a far cry from anything to do with Fables. So why am I here talking about this old drama? Well, it's because I just watched. What you probably didn't know was that it premiered just 1 month after Fables' first issue. Invincible is an animated Amazon series based on the comic series, yada yada yada, you already know that. Invincible's huge, critically acclaimed, everyone loves it. I'm not gonna lie, there isn't much connection from there, but for some reason this new Invincible series has really made me want a Fables adaptation with the same love and care that was given to Invincible. So now I'm going to state my case to any studio execs that aren't watching, or, you know, it's just fun to dream. First, this is an absolutely starved fan base. Fables concluded in 2015 and has only ever had one successful adaptation, that being The Wolf Among Us, and who knows if we'll ever see a season 2 of that at this point. Second, due to having a successful video game adaptation, there's already voice casting done. You know who to call if you want to make an animated series or an animated movie or something animated, because I really like animation. Lastly, the first few arcs of Fables are just some of the best comic reading I have ever done. It has won 14 Eisner Awards, including the Best New Comic Series of 2003, so please, give it a try if you have not. Put that back. I do really hope that I can see this series adapted someday into a television series or a cartoon series. I would really like an adult animated series. But it's amazing with so many different streaming services that no one's jumped on this. It's such a fantastic story, and I hope that more people get to see it. I mean, just look at some of the artists and imagery here. I would love to see this put into some kind of animated form. And hey, Telltale Games says The Wolf Among Us Season 2 is coming. No news updates, but it's coming. Until then, I guess we just have to settle for online fan dubs of the comic.
We'll be fine. You and Rose enjoy your road trip. And put us entirely out of your mind.
Yeah, never mind.